And this is the dilemma for the right. This is the dilemma for Christopher Luxon. I don't think this is a dilemma for David Seymour because I think he welcomes it. But it is a dilemma for Christopher Luxon. How do you attract the racist, white supremacist vote without acknowledging that the racists and the white supremacists vote for you? I've said this for a long time here. If we were running a podcast about car mechanics, if that was this podcast about how to fix a car, who would listen to us? People who want to fix their cars would listen to us. If a good section of your support base, I'm not saying the majority, I'm not saying everyone who votes National, is racists, white supremacists, literal Nazis, what does that say about your message? If they're the people who are attracted to a part of your message, what does that say about your message and how do you deal with it? The people who are running in these spheres, this right-wing sphere of, we're just asking questions, my facts, not feelings, these sorts of things, have to come to terms and actually ask themselves these questions. Geez, if these literal Nazis are liking what I do, Posey Parker, what does that say about what I'm doing? Now, this is where, and we talked earlier about, for me, I won't talk to you, Chewy, you can talk to yourself, where I fall out of favor with the left, right? Because there are some genuine questions to be asked about gender issues in society today, right? I will have empathy and I will look at the facts. There are some genuine questions to be asked. But when it's the Nazis that are coming along to your positioning on these sorts of questions, you have to go, what is my positioning and how am I actually addressing this to make this happen? This is from Melbourne. You all guys all know it. Supporters of anti-transgender activists have sparked outrage as they performed Nazi salutes at a protest on Melbourne on Saturday. The salutes came during a protest between two competing groups as anti-transgender activist Kelly Jane Keane continues her speaking tour of Australia before coming to New Zealand. And I think there's some footage here as well from someone's Instagram account of the Nazis walking past. There it is there.
That's a good chant, by
the way. So if I held a rally and those people turned up to my rally to echo what I was selling, I would be fucking mortified. I would be mortified if they turned up to a rally, not to shit stir, not to protest me, but to go, we support what you're saying from the front. And this is a question that the right needs to ask themselves right now. How do you feel about these people being on board with a bunch of your messaging? Yes, they're not going to be on board with all your messaging. Yes, Christopher Luxon, you're going to say the odd Māori word here and there, and they're not going to like that. But how do you feel about them being on board with a bunch of your messaging? I've got a clip to play you right now from Brett Weinstein's latest podcast, right? Where he is shocked that when he goes on to what he calls Nazi Twitter, and he spells it out very, very clearly. Let me read you the quotes, right? He's basically said, I'm not talking about the kind of Twitter where we get called Nazis, but he says places where, quote, swastikas are not viewed as negative. So that's the kind of Twitter. That part of Nazi Twitter. And he's shocked that people he knows, people he agrees with, and people who agree with him are active there. So Brett Weinstein's about to have a realization live streaming that he's got supporters and people that accept what he's saying, people that have defended them, he says that at one stage, who are literal Nazis. And this is a dilemma for the right. I'll play this for you, Chewy, and you can have a look.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this today, but I did have, again, we talked about it briefly some weeks ago, maybe a month and a half ago. I had gotten, for whatever reason on Twitter, dumped into what I call Nazi Twitter, right? And I tweeted about it yesterday or the day before, and I got back a reaction that I was not expecting. First thing is, people think that I am using that term the way it's been leveled at people like us or Bobby Kennedy, right? That I'm abusing the term, that Nazi is a buzzword and that you can tweak people's amygdala by using it.
Nope.
No. When I say Nazi Twitter, I am talking about a part of Twitter where swastikas are not viewed as negative, where Hitler is quoted in an effort to illustrate that he is not who we were told he was. In fact, the idea that is commonly circulated in this part of Twitter is that the television is lying to you, which I'm sure it is, but that the television is lying to you, that Hitler actually was not interested in war. He was interested in peace, and that the narrative that has been created around him in the aftermath of the Holocaust and World War II is a construction of, you guessed it, Jews in Hollywood.
So I'm not going to pause this for too long, but I want to make it really clear to people who are watching. Brett Weinstein is describing where he's interacting with the place he is as literal Nazis. No buzzwords, no, you're a Nazi because you've got a flag. Like actual Nazis who dig on Hitler, who blame the Jews for everything, who think the swastika is a good thing. So when I said in the description for this video, I'm not even necessarily using my words to show this connection. I'm using Brett Weinstein's, one of the priests in the IDW. This is what I'm talking about. He's made it very clear that what he's looking at is 1936 Germany, basically on Twitter, and the views coming out of it, right? And now he's about to go into a point where he's like, there's people there that I know, people there who support us. This shock from this man is amazing.
Right? Now, Amazing. But then here's the crazy part.
Crazy.
That's not every account. Okay. Most of the accounts over in that land are replying there. And there are some people over there that I know, people who have actually defended us in some cases. These people are not Nazis, but they are now trafficking in a kind of sophistication or false sophistication that I know what it is because, frankly, I wrote a paper on it in college saying, here is what this impulse to genocide actually.
So be very careful here. What he's saying is these guys have been, people I know, they're good people. They've just been fooled. That's what he's saying. He's going, I can see it, big brain, but they've been fooled. Nah, or they're Nazis.
And I see it bubbling up, and I see people who are way smart enough to understand that they are in fact they have not happened on to a place where we need dissidents who can see, the true nuanced nature of Hitler. What they are is actually activating an ancient program that lives in all people that causes them to go after other people who can't defend themselves.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to parse this thing, right?
Yeah.
Because what I keep hearing is, if black pride is okay, why isn't white pride okay?
Now, there's an edit there just for time. So what he's saying is in this part of the Twitterverse where all these people are that I know are asking, why isn't white pride okay? That just so it's clear, because there was an edit there, you would have saw the white flash. I put it there on purpose. So what he's saying is all these people that I know that are in this place, these people that have been our defenders are asking, why is white pride not okay? These are the people that he's talking about.
Now, I know what the answer to that question is, to the extent that that question has an answer, and I know why it's not a completely satisfying answer. But more to the point, I put out a video on Dark Horse back in, must have been 2018, in which I said, look, if the woke revolution keeps demonizing white people as the source of all badness, then you're backing them into the wall together, and they're going to respond in a completely predictable way. Okay? I wasn't defending those people who were demonizing white folks. I actually believe this stuff. I want to live in a country where who you are at a genetic level doesn't matter, and where opportunity is distributed as widely as possible. And I want us to compete, and I want people who contribute more to get paid more, right? That's not a utopian vision. That is a place we were headed.
It's a possible vision.
It's a possible vision.
Unlike a utopian vision.
Right. So to watch people now trafficking in Hitlerian revisionism, including, seriously, we're talking about accounts who have been, in one case, an important COVID dissident account.
So you got that COVID deniers tied in with Hitler, and Brett Weinstein, an important COVID dissident account, right? Important. Isn't it weird that Nazism's tied in strange bedfellows with COVID deniers, vaccine deniers, anti-mandate people? Even if they're not Nazis themselves, they make for strange bedfellows.
Talking about accounts who have been, in one case, an important COVID dissident account. It's an anonymous account, so I don't know who it is. But we're talking about people who should know better.
There you go, Chewy.
I feel like I'm going crazy, Pat.
Have at it, sir. I've got two more clips from this podcast to play, but you go first, sir.
Just like, I don't know this guy. I don't know his work. I only know really what you've told me. But it's funny to see someone who is clearly, like, I might disagree with everything that he says, but he doesn't seem to be a total dumbass.
He's a genius. He's an absolute.
But to see someone fucking connecting dots live on here and still completely missing the fucking point. I mean, this was something that I said right from the start of the COVID conspiracy thing. When you saw those groups, it was a really weird collection of groups, right? You had the sort of crystal energy, clean living vegan group, and then you had the Nazis. And then they came together because they had a common cause. And I was just like, no, whatever your cause is, if the Nazis join in, you kick the Nazis out. But they never did. And this was universal. This was here. This was Australia. This was Canada. This was the UK. This was North America. They all went, we are all pulling in the same direction. So we're just going to ignore the fact that these guys are Nazis. What that let into a lot of those people's groups, if you believe one conspiracy, it makes it easier to believe the others. You've spoken about that with the flat earthers and that sort of thing. If you can make the mental leap to believing something that crazy, then you can make the mental leap to another crazy thing that someone in your circle is putting forward.
Yep. And let me just for other people who don't know, he is an evolutionary biologist and a professor. So he is big brained. Him and his wife are as well. I think she is as well. And for some people who don't know, there was a situation at Evergreen State College. He resigned in the aftermath of a series of campus protests about racial equity at Evergreen, which brought Weinstein to the national attention. He's like Jordan Peters, but he's for a different, he's a different part of that sort of world. That's who he is. And this is the thing, I wrote a piece a long time ago called "Intelligent Debate versus Ideology." When people have an ideology, it's listed up here as well on his Wikipedia. He's been criticized for making false statements about COVID-19 treatments and vaccines as well. When people get into that world, whether it's a flat earther or whether it's a COVID denier or an anti-mandate, whatever, it doesn't matter sometimes how smart they are. They find the cognitive dissonance to go around their intelligence to find ridiculous things. The cognitive dissonance that people must have in that world to not realize that they've got Nazis as bedfellows is just beyond belief to me. Like, honestly, it's like, as I said, that event we just showed with Posey Parker, if those people turned up to an event I was holding, I would shut the event down and run away and hide. Because if they're coming in saying, we side with you, I'd be like, what are you fucking talking about? And what Brett Weinstein has just showed us is that there is a bunch of them that side with him. And so if he doesn't have self-reflection here, I'll play another clip right now, then there's a problem.